of our culture. And so thank you for coming. And really excited about tonight's presentation. It's exciting to have David Scott here talking about gourd work, but he's known for language as well. He's a national treasure for language. And so so he could even teach this class in Cherokee if he wanted to. So, but he does some amazing gourd work as well. I'm going to go ahead and read his bio and then just turn it over to him. Okay, David Scott, Cherokee National Treasure for Language. David lives in the Rocky Mountain community in Adair County with his wife, Sam Watts Scott. David lived and worked in Arkansas for over 20 years until his retirement in '98, moving back to his father's allotted land and home where he currently resides. David's first language was Cherokee, the only language spoken in the home. His parents would not allow English to be spoken in the home. David not only speaks the language, but also reads and writes. His parents always encouraged all the children to use the Cherokee language and never stop using it. David has been in numerous publications, videos, films, interviews, and recordings for over 20 years. He has made many presentations on language and has taught classes in on the Cherokee language in many communities. His involvement in the language led to being nominated for Cherokee National Treasure, in which he was awarded for his work in the language. And what year was that, David?
I
Don't remember.
Don't remember.
Okay. The most important thing is that he's a national treasure for language, and as we well know, language is very, very, very important. And just thank you. And that's a wonderful thing that your parents said never stop using it, because so many times that message was the opposite, and so that's pretty incredible. So, Wado David, Wado for being here.
Well, Wado. OCO, Nigadna. My name is David Scott. Like she said, I got the National Treasure for Language, and I would have been more than glad to do a presentation on language, but I'm going to do a presentation on other things that I do, which one of them is gourd work. But before I do that, I want to introduce my wife, my better half, Sam Watts Scott. She is a very incredible artist. I will tell you, her art comes naturally. Mine don't. I struggle with mine. She can whip stuff out like crazy. I mean, I ain't seen nothing that she can't do. So, my wife, Sam. When I got into gourd work, or gourds, I got into it by accident. I was going to church. There was a lady at church, found some gourds in the field. They're a pretty good size. They're about that big around. She had 5 or 6 of them. And she knew that I'd do a little drawing and stuff like that in church. So she brought them to me and said, David, what can you do with these? I had never seen a gourd before in my life until that point. I didn't know what they were. And so I didn't know really what to do with them, but a lot of it is common sense. You look at things, the more you do, the better you get at it. So I'm self-taught. No one taught me anything about these gourds. I just learned as I went. And still today, what drives me to do gourds is that I want to learn something new, or what new can I do with these gourds that nobody else is doing. That's my goal, and that's what's been driving me. I don't produce very much. I did have a lady that used to come from Mexico every year. She'd come down. I met her in school, in grade school, and she'd come. I did a presentation over there, and she'd come every year and bought off everything that I had. So I had no use to going to craft shows and stuff like that, because she always bought them. So I just did year round, made up a lot of them, and then she would come down and she would buy them, no matter what they looked like. In the beginning, she bought them, and then one day something happened. She never did come back, but I'm grateful for her and her interest. Again, so what I'm going to do this evening is I'm going to go through what it takes to do gourd work or work with gourds. Today I've seen some gourd work. It's just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it just boggles my mind what you can do with these things. And that's what I liked about them when I first started doing gourds, was the flexibility of these gourds. I mean, you can actually add to, take away, or whatever you want to do. That's what you can do with these gourds. Very, very flexible. Now, if you got a canvas, it's not that flexible. It's only the artist and that canvas and what you put on that canvas. But with this, what I realized is that I can get parts of another gourd, add to, or make something look like something that it's not. And that's what I like about it. Most people use their gourds for bird houses and stuff, which I have done a lot of bird houses and stuff. And I've had people call and say, well, David, one person called me and said that their gourds shriveled up. He said, what's wrong? I said, well, for one thing, these gourds, when you get them, a lot of times they're green. When they're green, there's nothing you can do with them other than store them in a dry place. And what he done, he's got some green gourds, started working on them, and they shriveled up on him. So a gourd is part of the pumpkin family. Gourds have been around for thousands of years. There's all kinds of gourds. There's different gourds, bottle gourds, canteen gourds. I can go on and on and on, even from small ones to giant ones. And like I said today, the gourd art has really, really increased. There's so many shows now just on gourd art. I mean, you can get online, just put gourd art on there, and you will see lots of phenomenal art just with these gourds. I mean, it's amazing. And again, today I'm here standing in front of you. I didn't realize that one day that I would be here and doing this just because of a little gourd that I started out with by accident. So this is a dry gourd, and like I said, you got to dry these for about a year in a dry place. Turn them every once in a while, because that stuff inside there is just like a pumpkin or a watermelon. It's got a lot of water in it. So you have to turn them every now and then so they won't rot in one spot. And then whatever's on the outside is actually mold. And one thing I would caution you about these gourds when you're working with them, when you're cleaning them, and especially on the inside, I don't wear a mask, but I have gotten sick from them. So best thing to do is just get you a little dust mask if you're going to work with gourds, and use that. It's very, very bitter inside here because, like I said, I've tasted a lot of it. It's very bitter. This is a unclean gourd. This is what you will find out there when you're looking for gourds. Mostly they will be dry. No one's going to sell you a green gourd, hopefully not. But this is a dry gourd, and like I said, what you will find on the outside, this is mold. It dries from the inside out. And you can keep these things for years and years and years, and nothing's going to happen to them as long as you keep them dry. If you get them wet, if they set in one spot, then you have rot forming. Unless, in my case, sometimes a mouse will get into them. This is like I said, a dirty gourd. First thing you're going to want to do when you want to work with a gourd is you want to take this stuff off. And one way to do it is you can scrape it just as is, use something sharp, a knife or whatever. Or the easy way is just get your water. Some say warm water. Just plain water is what I use, cold. Just put it in a container bigger than your gourd and just let it bob up and down or slosh it around for a few minutes. What happens is when that water gets on there, this stuff starts to get real soft. Now you will find there are some gourds that this covering is so, I don't know, it's just so tough. It takes a little while to take it off. One of the easiest way that I found is this. Every woman knows what this is.
Oh, it's a scrubby.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I just put the gourd in water and let it soak for a little while. Some use soap, some use warm water. I just use cold water. And then once it gets soaked a little bit, I just use this on top of it. It will not scratch up this gourd. Now I will caution you, if you want to use sandpaper, which some people do, you're going to scratch up this surface. So this one won't. So the water's making that soft, so it makes it a whole lot easier to use one of these on there. I mean, I have used knives and stuff, taking it off, I have. Some parts that are real hard, you may have to use a knife. But that's step one. Once you get it clean, the next step is that you want to get inside of it or take all the guts out of it, because you don't want guts in there unless, depending on what you're going to use it for. If you want to use a rattle, you keep all the guts in there. You can hear these seeds rattling, and that's what that is. So next thing you want to do is you want to get inside of it, take all that stuff out. And the only thing that I have used Dremel, which I'm not very good at. This is my tool right here. This is what I use. Have I cut myself? Yep, I have. But the thing is, and over all these years that I've been doing gourds, I've only broken one or two of them. And that is in the cutting process. Some of them will crack on you if you're not careful. But what I do is I just put a pencil line around my gourd after I got it clean. And what I want to do is I want to go ahead and pass around this gourd. You can look at it. This is a clean gourd on the outside. That's what I've been talking about. Here's a clean gourd. Don't drop it. That's about $40. And this is an unclean gourd. You can look at, I forgot to pass those out. You can look at that cover on the outside versus that one you had there. So once I do that, clean it, take the stuff out. Like I said, I cut it. And I want you to see what's inside. And again, it's like Christmas time when you cut one of these, because you don't know what you're going to get. Some of it's hard and some of it's easy. But the thing is, when you get a gourd and you cut it, you're going to have hundreds of seeds. If you have a green thumb, here's your seeds right there. Bunch of them. I don't have a green thumb. And I'll tell you, I've only raised one gourd in my life. And it didn't get to its full potential size. It was about that big around, excuse me. It was about that big around. I watched it from my bedroom window. I thought, man, I finally grew a gourd. Well, one morning I got up, looked out there. I looked at it almost every morning. When I looked outside one morning, my dog was eating it. So that's what happened to it. So this is the inside of a gourd. That's what you will find. Again, if you drop this, it's not going to break. That's what people are afraid of, is that when they drop this, it'll break. They are very versatile. They're a lot stronger than what you think. Now, gourds also, the gourd itself, some of them are thin and some of them are pretty thick. The thicker it is, the harder it is to open it up. But I just continue using my knife over and over in that same spot, or keep going round and round and round, and eventually you'll come open. People use Dremels, people use knives. I even seen some that use saws, like a hand saw. I can't do that. Yes, ma'am.
So you use a box cutter?
Yep, this is it.
Okay. That's the best tool.
That's the best tool for me, and I've used it for over 20-some years. This is it. Just a lot of blades. Make sure that your blade is sharp. I mean, I use this for everything. Once I clean it, cut it, and everything that you see that I've done on these gourds with the use of this. And the other tool that I use is a pencil. Ordinary pencil. After I've cleaned it, clean out the outside. Now let me back up a little bit. Once I get that open and get all the guts out of it, depending on what I'm going to use it for, I clean the inside of it out. If you've seen that one first gourd, all that stuff in there that's still left behind after you get all the seeds out, then I use sandpaper, real rough sandpaper, about 80 grit, to get all that out. And the reason why I do that is a lot of times I do shows or competitions, so it has to be pretty clean. If you take a gourd to a competition where it's not being cleaned out, I guarantee you're not going to win. So the gourd inside and out has to be presentable, and that's what I've done on this one here, is that I've cleaned the inside of it out. Sometimes it's very easy to do, and sometimes it's not. You just keep working it, working it, working it. Yes.
I really admired the cutouts on that one. How difficult was that to do?
Not very difficult once you get the hang of doing it. It's not. It's not as difficult as it looks.
Did you pencil it too?
Yes,
And
everything that you see here that I penciled in.
okay.
And let me tell you about this pencil and the gourd. You can, whatever you want, you can do with the pencil, but you can also erase with an eraser or water, and you can start all over again. But if you use a marker or whatever, then it's going to stay. But a pencil I found is, yeah, you can erase and start all over.
That's what you draw your.
Yeah, that's what I draw my circles or whatever I'm going to put on the gourd. This is what I use right here. It's just a pencil, ordinary pencil.
So you use your design. That's how you design.
Mm-hmm. That's how I design it, just with the pencil. And like I said, I'm not as good as artist as she is, so a lot of times I have to go over and over and over again until I get it the way I want it. And laying out a gourd a round object is not as easy as you think.
No.
It's a little bit more difficult, but again, like I said, through the years, trial and error, I've been able to, it's become a lot easier, let me say that. It's never easy, but it's become a lot easier. And as far as designs, what I use is like old cracker boxes, cereal boxes, or whatever. A lot of times, if I'm going to repeat a design, if it's the same thing, I just make me a stencil out of a cardboard. I mean, a cracker box. And I don't even use a tape measure. A lot of times, if I'm going to make something come out equal, I'll just cut me a strip off of the cracker box, make a little mark, and make 2 marks, and just keep going round and round and round. And then sometimes it don't work out because of the dimension of the gourd, how you laid it out, so you got to make some adjustments. Eventually, you will get there. But like I said, a lot of this is just common sense, a little trial and error, and that's just how I learned. Again, I'm not an expert, by no means. Okay. So once you clean the gourd out, like I said, you're ready to do what you want to do. If you want to make just a simple bowl, you can do that. Or if you want to cut it up to something else, you can also do that. That's entirely up to you. Now, as far as paint, ordinary acrylic paint that you get at Walmart or Hobby Lobby. That's it. Now, the other thing about that is that the acrylic paint, if you mess up, if you don't like what it looks like, you can start completely over just with water and a rag. Now, the thing that I would caution you is that a lot of people might want to dump this in the water, the whole thing. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't recommend that because when you dump it in the water, this thing gets a little bit softer. And also, inside there, it's just harder for it to dry, and it'll take a long time for it to dry. Now, some of them do that when they're cleaning the inside. If they're not in a hurry, they just put water in it. Let it all soak up so they can get all that stuff out. I don't do that. I just use sandpaper because I'm going to get to what I need to get to because I know it's going to take me a long time to get to where I want to get to. Because like I said, mine don't come naturally. I struggle with a lot of things with it. So once you get your design on there to paint it, just regular acrylic paint. I guess you can use old, never tried it. I don't know if it works or not. I can't tell you that. Mine's just with straight acrylic. That's all I use. What is it about? If it's on sale, about 49-59 cents sometimes, depending on where you go. Now, as far as designs, most of my designs are Southeastern. But what I try to do is that if I can't explain something, I'm not going to put it on there. If I don't know what it's supposed to represent, I'm not going to put it on there. Okay. And I don't. Like this one here. The reason why I put this design on there is a 4-directional symbol. We use 4 directions in Cherokee, and that's why I put it on there. I mean, there's a lot of designs out there. A lot of people have asked me, what does all this mean? I have no clue. Those designs were used in old times, and we've forgotten the meaning of them. So, more than likely, I just tell them I don't know. And again, this symbol here, this 4 direction, it may not mean that. I don't know. But what I do know is what I put on there and what I'm representing on there is the 4 directional symbol that we use in Cherokee. Yes.
So do you use, like some, the patterns on basket weaving?
Yes, I have done that, yes. And again, the design is entirely up to you. I mean, there's a lot of publications out there now that you can get your designs from. The only thing that I would caution you about those designs is if you get a book that says copyright on it, you can't use those. But there are a lot of books that has native designs. If you want to just do a native gourd or designs, you can do that. But as far as Cherokee, there's not that many designs that we have out there. But we do have the southeastern art that we can get some of those designs. Now, I'm not that,
If you do it, it is native design.
I guess so. That's a native that's a native chicken right there.
I mean, you know,
Yeah,
This is a Cherokee chicken.
I like that
it's,
one.
it's gorgeous. It's all gorgeous.
I like it all.
But that's what I mean. That's where I started. The lady used to come and get my gourds. That's where I sold. And then after she was gone, then I started making the chicken. And I've sold a lot of those too also. So again, a lot of it is just by doing over and over, just like anything else. It depends on how much you want to learn something. It's how much, what you'll get out of it is the effort that you put into it. So if you pick up a gourd and just do a birdhouse and put a circle around it, if that's all you're satisfied with, that's fine. But the more you do, the more you'll learn that these things are flexible.
I have a question.
Yes.
We have an engraving machine setup thing. Have you ever tried engraving them in any way?
The only way that I know to engrave them is use a Dremel.
Okay.
Because of the shape of this, I mean, we just now got an engraver, didn't we? Haven't tried it out, and I don't think you can do it on a round surface like that. I don't know.
Okay.
But it looks like the way our engraver's set up, there's no way that you're going to do that on an engraver. So the way I would do it is I would just pencil in my design and just get some kind of a tip that's going to go inside the gourd or break that covering and engrave it that way.
Okay.
As far as Dremel, I do use the Dremel, but I don't use it. I probably use it about maybe 5% or
What is that?
a Dremel. A Dremel is just a little machine about that long. It starts from about, now they're about $70. You can buy them at Lowe's. Walmart has them.
They're like a miniature.
It's a rotary tool that you can put different tips on there. Cutters, some cutting tips and stuff like that. They even have sanding discs that you can use.
Yeah.
But most of my sanding, I just do it by hand. And like I said, to get rough stuff out, about 80 grit, then I go to about a 120 to make it smooth.
Okay.
And that's about the two that I stay with. Okay, now what I want to do is I'm going to pass these around. Don't be afraid of them. So I figured that if you break one, you just probably have to buy it. Okay, this one here is, my wife claimed that. I done this, and I had it different in the beginning, didn't I? The color was different. Yeah. Her suggestion, make it black, which I did. And then, like I said, this is versatile. These are upholstery tacks that we've added to them. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of things you can do with these things. You can add or you can take away, depending on your talent. Don't look inside. There's spider web in there, I think. And again, I do bowls too also. This is a bowl just with Southeastern designs on it. I just left a little handle that you can carry it. This ain't colored, it's just naturally, like I said, the Dremel part that comes in, this has been Dremeled out.
Okay.
The top part has been taken off. There's little cutters, that once you get used to it, that they have that you can do this. And again, the thing with the Dremel is that you got to get used to it because that machine, to me, it'll get away from you real fast. You're going to have a hole in this gourd before you even know it.
Okay.
So the thing to do is light touch until you get used to it. And then again, the other thing is that you'll get used to the gourd. depending on the thickness, how deep you want to go or what you want to do with it, but a lot of it depends on your thickness. If it's real thin, you're not going to be able to do very much with it.
Is it hard to leave that handle? I mean, that looks like hard.
No, it's just cut out. The top part of it was like this. It was shaped like this. So I just marked it and I just cut it out and left it kind of like a handle.
Okay.
Because you don't usually see it.
Have you,
Right, you don't.
have you ever worked with the basket gourds, the really big ones?
Yes, I have. Matter of fact, the art or the gourds that I've sold to the casinos and stuff have been the bigger ones. Yeah, the bigger ones. And if you want to see more of my work, you can go. I think it's there may be still in there is a Tahlequah Casino. Don't gamble, just go. It's Tahlequah Casino. I think in the front door or back door, one of the places is one of mine. And the Roland Casino has one. Grove, right? I think so. It's not finished? Oh, really? Okay. And I used to have one at the Hard Rock when it was all turkey. No, I don't. But that's where you can see some of my work.
This is just beautiful. I can only imagine the work that went into this.
Okay, another thing that I do is I make masks.
Okay.
Now this is just a mask. It's kind of like a booger mask, but I don't claim to make booger masks
Okay.
because of what they represent.
Right.
So I don't. This is just a mask, okay? My interpretation of a mask, and like I said, you can use a lot of things. This is a, what do you call those things?
A knot thing off some wood we found at the lake.
Yeah. That's what its mouth is. And like I said, it's entirely upon your imagination what you can do with these things. And again, the hair, that's mine. That's how long my hair was one time. No, that's horsehair.
Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't looking that way. Okay.
Now, this is just my favorite.
And again,
This is, because this cuts.
like I said, you can add things to it. And one of the things that that I've done is I've inlaid gourds.
Gorgeous.
The one in Roland and then the one in, I can think the one in Roland is the only one, isn't it?
Oh,
It's inlaid with shell, glass, matter of fact, beads. I even got wire in that one that I've inlaid in there or put in there. So, and again, yes ma'am.
how did you do these little holes to make them look like screws are in there?
I just carved them in there.
I mean, that's really, they do, it looks like it's,
That's what they were meant to look like, screws.
that's neat.
And you could also do letters, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I mean, like you said, if you Google gourd art, there's people that's putting leather, what is that, rope, then kind of like a, what do you call those hanging things? Kind of like a vine. They put them on top and then decorate them. But you would be amazed what they can do with these gourds. Like I said, I ain't even close to some of those people. Yes.
I'm just full of questions.
Yeah, me
Okay.
Does that have a finish on it, or is
Yes,
that
it does.
just the way- what
And
kind of
that's
finish
what I was
did you
gonna talk
put
about.
on it?
Okay, now the finish, I was going to let you see those and I was going to explain the finish. The finish,
Okay, well, we'll wait.
okay. Okay, like I said, you can add, this is copper, my wife does copper work, this is her scraps. Are those your designs? Yeah, okay.
All right.
So we work together on a lot of this stuff.
Well, that's good.
I mean, her ideas, or I run, if I finish a product, I'll run it by her to see. And like I said, this was a totally different color, and she said, make it black. So it turned out a whole lot better, and she said, put those tacks on there, which I did, which made it a whole lot better. So we work together that way.
As they say.
Yes, popped, I guess.
Right?
Again, this is a mask. It's not a booger mask, it's just a mask. It's a turkey mask because I made it, right? And again, like I said, sometimes I play around. This is my play around. I do sell them, but I do play. And there's other things that I've made. I've made Santa Clauses. I've made angels, gooses, ducks. I made a cat once. Shark,
You made a dolphin or a shark?
Shark.
You made flowers?
flowers. And then we did one,
And we did a wolf.
and we did a wolf mask together. I've done bear masks. What else have I done?
Bear and wolf.
Bear, wolf. Oh, and a bird mask.
Oh, the bird mask.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, like I said, this is trial and error. Now let me tell you about the finish.
Okay.
If you're going to get a finish, get a clear coat that says non-yellowing. Now the first gourds that I ever done, I saw them again several years after I'd done them. They were yellow. And that's where I realized I got to find something else. Now I used to recommend that Hobby Lobby and Walmart used to carry a little can that was pink, a folk art. But Walmart or Hobby Lobby doesn't have it anymore. That was the best one, and I can't find it. I can order it, but I can't find that one. So what do we go to?
Isn't it Plaid, the brand?
Yeah, plaid.
We went to
Yeah.
Kamar.
We went to Kamar.
Okay.
And again, those finishes, I've seen some people
Glad folk on
that they use a clear coat. I mean, this thing be shiny. My preference is I don't want it that way.
Find it online.
So this is a rooster that I made.
How did this?
It's a turkey chicken.
Blue.
And again, all of that, wings and the comb and the wattle and the beak, all those are from another gourd that I've cut and shaped and sanded and painted. And okay, another thing, glue.
Beautiful.
Glue that I use is just wood glue. That's it. Wood glue. I mean, there's other glues out there probably would work, but I've just stayed with wood glue, the yellow one, wood glue, Elmer's. That's all I use. Now, as far as fixing, if you break, I've had some people that have bought stuff and have broken them. And through the years, I've gotten a whole lot better. I can take a broken gourd and fix it where it looks like it's not been broken. I mean, that's just through the years that I've learned to do that. They can be fixed if you break them.
Hey,
Yes.
did you put this on with sinew or leather?
Sinew, the fake sinew. Yep. If you look, I just drill holes so if you turn it around. And if you use sinew, make sure you burn the ends or that it comes out. And over time, if you leave that sinew in the sunlight, it'll turn white. I've even used wire in some occasion to hold the noses and stuff. Wire, sinew. What else did I do?
Well, like on the copper work, that's a real industrial heavy duty.
Oh yeah. Now if you're gonna put like metal, probably copper or something, then I would get the goop, isn't it? Or is it the household
Household.
glue? It's just sold in Hobby Lobby and Lowe's. Gorilla Glue probably would. I don't know. I haven't tried it. I just stick with what works and
What's it called? Gorilla Glue. Oh,
super glue will work too. I've tried that.
It depends on what you're gluing on.
Right. And if you look on there, the eyes of that chicken are actually beads. So again, that's the thing that I do. I try to utilize what I can, what I have, and make it into something. And that's what I like about gourds. To me, they are so versatile that it's just your imagination. And like I said, I learned by trial and error. There's things that I've started, it just didn't come out right. I'll try again. And don't give up. You'll get there. Common sense. And again, just let your mind, let it work, and you're probably a better artist than I am. Okay? Any questions?
is this gourd cut out?
Yes. And again, like I said, some pieces that I use or cut out are pretty fragile, but in time, the more you use this thing, that's what I would recommend, because the Dremel is pretty harsh. You got a machine that's spinning around, and if you look at that Dremel, when it spins around, it's not it has a little wobble in it, okay? If you don't learn to use that Dremel, or you'll just tear it up. And that's what's happened to me. I'm barely getting used to that Dremel. So that's why I stuck with the knife. I mean, I do everything with this thing. That's it. Just keep a lot of blades, keep changing them, and then sanding and cutting. And like I said, a little imagination, you can do that.
So you really can control the pressure that you apply better by using
Yes,
it.
yes. My cuts are a lot more accurate with this knife than it is with the Dremel.
Okay.
Because with the Dremel, like I said, if you're not careful, if these gourds have a thick spot in them, if you run that Dremel, a lot of times it'll deflect. And then now you got something that you're trying to make it straight, and you've got a little zag or zig or whatever in it. And that's the part I didn't like about the Dremel. And and the other thing, when I first started using the Dremel, I was too shaky. I was so nervous using it. My lines were like this. But with this, I found out I can draw the line, use the blade on it, and just keep repeating it, and I can cut anything and shape anything. Any more questions?
Do you take order each?
Oh yeah, I do that.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, some part of the time I want to try something.
Okay.
I'd like to have a red, white, and blue, and for my nephew, who is a small gourd of some kind, he's in Bahrain.
I would be glad to do that.
That would be just a little, I mean, it doesn't have to be.
No, a little bigger than that? Okay, just get with my wife and get your email address or whatever, and
Okay.
just write it down. I'll be glad to do it.
David, somebody online asked, how do you get different tones? Tana, what do you mean by that? Like the different,
Patina?
the tones, like I'm wondering if it's like.
It is that.
Oh,
What you
it's
mean,
been
Tana?
been dremeled.
Okay.
Now you can get different tones from the gourd itself.
Okay.
The more of that outer coat you got, the darker, the nastier it is, the more that it's going to be embedded in here. I mean, there's been some gourds that I've used that it's just been so beautiful on the outside, you just keep it natural instead of painting it. And that one has been dremeled. What she sees, that white area, has been dremeled out.
And you put a little bit of a finish on this?
Yes, yes, yes. Clear coat.
David, on that large mask, I believe we used,
Oh, yeah, yeah. On that one, the mask there, it's been dyed. Leather dye is what we used. Yeah. You can see that it's coming off. That guy has been transported all over the place, hasn't it? So it's been rubbed against right around the eye. But that is dye, leather dye. So you can dye these things if you want to.
I think I'd rather,
Seems like a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. And I guess that's what I like, is I enjoy cutting into them and creating something from what you got in front of you. Add to, take away, or whatever. And that's what I enjoy about it. And that's what drives me, is that then I want to find something that I can use on that gourd that nobody's doing. That's what drives me. And that's what I've been trying to do. So any more questions?
Do you pick the gourds when they're green on the vine and let them dry, or wait till they kind of, the
No.
vines all dry up and then take them? Or?
The vine has to dry up, and then you can cut them off. And like I said, I'm not no expert in planting these things. I am not.
My grandma used to grow them all the time, and I think there's still one that comes up there where she lives and whatever. So I was just curious.
And then after that, you just store it in a cool place. And like I said, put it on hay or something. Just keep it off the ground. And then every 6 months or so, just turn it. Yeah, so it won't rot in one spot. And that's a lot with gourds that I find, is that there'll be a soft spot where that's just sit and sit and sit. And then eventually it'll rot out. But every now and then you'll find one where it's got a little, where it's been rotted out. It is soft. And then it ruins the gourd. Any questions or comments?
David, you've had ornament classes too, haven't you, around Christmas time? Have you taught?
No, I have not. I've made ornaments, but I haven't done a class.
Made ornaments. but-
Right, I haven't made ornaments before. And I've done a few earrings,
Oh. Like that.
and I wish we'd thought of that, ain't it? But I made her a little, what do you call it? Gorget. Gorget. It's all gourd, and it's a four-directional symbol.
It's the four directional symbols and it has the four colors.
Right, the four colors.
Beautiful.
And it's about that big around.
I like the idea of gourd jewelry. That's, yeah.
I mean, you can shape it in basically any shape you want. But the only thing is that the thicker the gourd, the better it is. If it's thin, you're going to break it real easy. And it has to be a design where it's not easy to break. But it can be done. And I've even made some hair things, like hair barrettes that you stick that pin through. I've made some of those too.
You just let your imagination run wild then.
Yep. The little imagination I have, it runs wild.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yes.
I think.
It's enjoyable. Okay, if there's not any more questions, I want to thank you for the opportunity. Thank for everybody coming and listen to my little hobby. And it's basically what it is. But I have enjoyed it. And it's taken me beyond where I wanted to go. Well done.